What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today we're going to be talking about how Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers are back, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, in the previous NBA season, the Portland Trailblazers didn't reach the NBA playoffs for the first time in a very long time. And honestly, last year was just a very crazy year for the Portland Trailblazers. We only seen Damian Lillard play a handful of games before he went down for the season with his abdominal injury. And then at the NBA trade deadline, we seen the Portland Trailblazers trade away most of their main assets, or most of their main rotational guys like CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, and Robert Covington. All of those guys were shipped out of Portland, and the Trailblazers decided to go with their young guys for the rest of the year. And they did have some bright spots with guys like Trendon Watford, Eubanks, and Anthony Simons. So it wasn't all bad for the Portland Trailblazers last year, but they did not end up making the playoffs. They hit the NBA draft lottery. They got the 7th overall pick, and that turned into Shaedon Sharpe, and they made some pretty big time off-season moves. They grabbed Jeremy Grant and Gary Payton II, so I thought those were some pretty decent pickups. And now here we are in the next NBA season. Damian Lillard is playing great, and the Portland Trailblazers through 3 games are 3-0. Now, before we talk about how great Damian Lillard is playing, I first want to talk about the Portland Trailblazers offense as a whole. And so far through 3 games, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the Blazers and their offensive system. And I want to say that this offense is dominated by Damian Lillard, but it's not dominated by him in a bad way. And what I mean by that, every possession we're not watching Damian Lillard come down the court and he's just dribbling for a majority of the shot clock, and guys are standing around waiting for him to make a move or pass them the basketball. But what I think Chauncey Billups, I think he's done a great job so far of implementing this perfect balance of the 2-man game between him and Nurkic. And then other than that, it's always some great ball movement going on with the Blazers, and the guys without the basketball in their hands are constantly moving. So, and with Damian Lillard, we know how great he is with the pick and roll. He's going to attract so much attention. That's naturally going to open up wide open shots, wide open cuts, and it's going to lead to easy buckets. So we know with that. And then also the same thing, and this is what's so great about Damian Lillard. He attracts so much attention with and without the basketball. And another thing I noticed while watching the Blazers so far this season is that they use Damian Lillard similar to how they use Stephen Curry. He runs through so many different actions, so many different screens, and it frees him up. He gets a nice catch and shoot knockdown 3. That's a great way for Damian Lillard to get into a rhythm, wide open 3s. And then also when Dame is cooking and he's running off those screens, guys are naturally going to go to him, and those lead to wide open cuts for other players. So I just been seeing simple things like that from the Portland Trailblazers. And I just want to say one more bright thing for this team as a whole. Right now, offensively, they're not playing nowhere near their best. I think right now they're ranked 26th in offensive rating, but they're 3-0. And I think guys are still just getting warmed up. Like Anthony Simons, he's gotten some great looks, just hasn't knocked them down. Same thing with Jeremy Grant and all the other guys on the Blazers. They're all getting great looks, but they're just not knocking down their shots yet. But I don't expect that to continue. So imagine how dangerous these guys are going to be with this 2-man between Nurkic and Dame, and then all this motion offense. They're going to be getting countless buckets. So I just want to talk about how well their offense is flowing right now. So we talked about the Portland Trailblazers' great offensive system, and now we're going to talk about the player that makes this system so great, and that's Damian Lillard. And the last time I seen Damian Lillard playing basketball, I will be 100% honest, I was personally thinking that Dame isn't looking like himself. He was putting up like 22 points per game, but he wasn't shooting the ball very accurately. Now I know that's normal. Damian Lillard, he is a volume shooter and a volume scorer, so it's very normal for a shooter to go through a slump. So I didn't think nothing of it. But you guys know how the internet trolls are, especially in the NBA world. Guys who don't really watch the game, they just look at the numbers. A lot of them guys were starting to call Damian Lillard washed because he wasn't shooting the ball that accurately at the time. Now, me personally, I never thought that, and I'm pretty sure Damian Lillard, he bees on the internet, and I'm pretty sure he's seen some of these comments, and I just know he's on a mission this season to remind the NBA world why he is a top 3, top 2 point guard in this league, and that's exactly what he's done so far this season. Because so far through 3 games, Damian Lillard is averaging 34 points, and he's coming off back-to-back monstrous performances against the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers. In both those games, Dame Dollar had 41 points. So I think Dame, the way he's been looking and the way he's performing on the offensive side of the ball, I think he's in his absolute prime. Now, with the bag that Damian Lillard is in right now, the only person that can stop Dame is himself. He has the complete offensive package, and there's no weakness in his offensive game. He is an elite 3-level scorer. He has some range that rivals Stephen Curry. He can shoot the 3 ball, off the catch, off the dribble, amazing handle on the basketball. He can break down anybody in the NBA. And what I love about Damian Lillard, and I swear this doesn't get talked about enough, and Damian Lillard is one of those guys that he's so good at one thing, that's all people think he can do. They see Dame hitting these logo threes. They saw the crazy 3 over Paul George, and they think he's just a shooter. But Damian Lillard is so much more than that offensively, and he's virtually unstoppable. He's like 6'1", 6'2", and he's unstoppable on the offensive side of the ball. He can get to the mid-range area, and he can pull up. And then the most underrated part of his game is what he can do around the rim. He is such a crafty finisher, and not only is he crafty, but he can also finish through contact. He can finish with both hands. He can finish. He can make the acrobatic layups, and he can get up and he can punch it. He's just a complete offensive player, and there's so many different ways you can utilize Dame on offense. He's great in the pick and roll. He's also great in isolation. And then through these 3 games, we see the Portland Trailblazers, they're using him so much without the basketball in his hands. So right now, I think Dame is in the absolute prime of his career, and the only thing you can do to slow him down is pray. You just got to pray about it and hope Dame is having an off night. So we talked about how great Damian Lillard is playing, and we talked about the offensive system of the Portland Trailblazers, which we haven't seen at full force yet. It's just been 3 games, and right now the Portland Trailblazers, they rank 26th in offensive rating, and that's because Anthony Simons, he's in a bit of a shooting slump. Jeremy Grant, he's still finding his groove and rhythm within the offense, but I think once those 2 guys start to come on strong, the Portland Trailblazers will have one of the best offenses in the NBA. I think right now they're getting great looks. They're just not capitalizing. So when those guys get on, the Portland Trailblazers are going to be one of the scariest offenses in the NBA. But another area that I've seen improvement in over these 3 games is on the defensive side of the ball. And I know that's a very small sample size, 3 games, but that's all we have to go off of right now. So that's what we're going to go off of. And they have a top 10 defense. They rank number 6 in defensive rating, and I think that is great for the Blazers because over these years they haven't been a great defensive team, and they've added some defensive pieces, guys like Jeremy Grant, who can guard multiple players. Josh Hart came over at the trade deadline last season. He can guard multiple players, and so can Nasir Little, who's coming back off of an injury. So those 3 guys right there, they make it easier when you want to pick your defensive matchups with guys like Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons out on the court, and even Shaedon Sharpe, who has some great size, very athletic, so you can throw him on a couple of different players. And notice how I named 4 guys who could play some defense. We haven't even named the Portland Trailblazers their best defender, who they acquired in the offseason, Gary Payton II. I think once he comes into the team, once he gets back from his injury, he will be the best defender on the team because he can do so many different things on that side of the ball. So the Blazers have added some solid players on the defensive side of the ball, but we also have to give credit to Coach Chauncey Billups, who is an NBA champion, and he won his NBA championship from playing great team defense. He also played alongside one of the greatest defenders of all time in Ben Wallace, and their great defense was good enough for them to beat one of the greatest duos of all time, Shaq and Kobe. So I feel like Chauncey Billups, he's definitely over there stressing team defense, and we can see that within the Portland Trailblazers. So I'm really loving what I'm seeing from the team. I like the ball movement. I love the offense. I think it has a good balance of moving the ball around and then letting Damian Lillard, just letting him cook up and get whatever matchup he wants. And then defensively, they have guys, they have athletes, they have length, and then they also have a defensive juggernaut coming back in Gary Payton II. So today is Monday. They face the Denver Nuggets tonight. They have a back-to-back. We're going to see what the Blazers do in that game. Can't wait to watch it. I know it's going to be fun because it's a lot of guys in this game that can go out and get a bucket. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe. Subscribe for more weekly content. The NBA is back, and we're going to be dropping so many videos, man. And that's curtains.